Good to be with you tonight. I'm a teacher, been a teacher for 40 years. Taught in the public schools, 5 years in the state prisons, last 30 years at Coker College, teaching sociology and political science. At a certain point for me, silence was betrayal. I believe in common sense for the common good. I'll tell you a story about teaching in the state prison in California. I'd talk to the inmates, and I'd ask them, at what point did you fall into despair and hopelessness? And typically they'd say at the age of 11, 12, or 13. And they made some bad choices, but they didn't pick their parents, they didn't pick their communities, they didn't pick their schools, they didn't pick their country. We've made some bad choices too. And either we believe in leaving no child behind, or we don't. Either we believe in liberty and justice for all, or we don't. Either we believe in doing unto the least of these, or we don't. We need to treat children with the same dignity that we treat our own children. I believe in a children's Bill of Rights. Just like Marion Wright Edelman's been working for years, the same Marion Wright Edelman that helped Martin Luther King lead the Poor People's March on Washington. Kids have a right to food, health care, housing, good schools, clean air, clean water, safe streets. Jobs, opportunity, and security through investing in America. We know that the infrastructure needs to be invested in, but I intend to tell the business community that $1 invested yields $1.6 in return, according to the Congressional Budget Office. That if you're in Congress and you don't make that type of investment, you shouldn't be in Congress. And if you're in business and don't make that type of investment, you shouldn't be in business. That's millions of jobs, rebuilding the roads, bridges, water systems, our electrical grid. People need the jobs. The longer we wait, the more dangerous it gets, the more expensive it gets. To me, it's simply common sense. Investing in early childhood education, where Head Start, after 50 years, only has half the eligible kids able to participate in the program. President Obama said that $1 invested in early childhood education yields about $7 in return. So if you're in business and don't invest $1 to get $7, you shouldn't be in business. And if you're in Congress and don't invest $1 to get $7, you shouldn't be in Congress. To me, it's just common sense. Climate change is real. We've had 6 studies from the United Nations, 2,000 scientists in each of those studies, and each time they say the problem appears to be even worse than we thought before. The Pentagon, since 2003, has said climate change is a greater threat to our national security than terrorism. It's going to change who gets the water. There's going to be more floods, famines, fires, mass migrations. We need to invest in conservation, in building solar panels and windmills here rather than having them built in Europe and in Asia. We can do that. It's an investment in America, an investment in getting jobs here. People need a living wage. Martin Luther King in 1968, when he was marching to protect the rights of the sanitation workers, said it is a crime in this wealthy nation for people to work for starvation wages. If you were to calculate for the cost of living what the wages were then, they're actually lower today than they were in 1968. It's still a crime. We need to change that. It's possible. The Democrats stand on the right side of that issue. We can fight for that. It is amidst a climate where the dialogue in Washington is absolutely shameless. President Obama's plan for health care was the Republican plan presented by Bob Dole and the Heritage Foundation that they've tried 63 times to overturn and they call socialism. absolutely shameless and confusing to the American public. We have helped more people get health care. I feel health care is a human right. It's a God-given right. We have to figure a way to have universal health care in the United States. Now let me go. I intend on the floor of Congress to make this type of argument. In Canada, conservative businessmen will not give up their single-payer system because everybody's covered. They live 3 years longer. You pick your doctor. You pick your hospital. It lowers the national debt. It is less of a burden on businesses. They pay less money. They get coverage that's better than ours at 2/3 the cost. Our businesses are at a competitive disadvantage. Let's lower the national debt. Let's protect families. It's doable. We've seen the model in Canada for 50 years. We're fighting a $1 trillion business that doesn't want to give up easily. But to me, this is common sense for the common good. We're in a context where corporations look abroad and pledge their allegiance many times to the best investment opportunity. I think Americans want them to pledge allegiance to the United States of America. Let me be plain. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, not to the red states or to the blue states. President Obama got that right. But in Congress, we have a Congress that's put partisanship above the public interest. We have a country, if we're to talk about the strength of the republic, we have 1% of our citizens putting in 98% of the money in the election process. And that 1% is getting 60% of the profits after the Great Recession. It's a threat to the republic, and we have to see it as such. One nation under God, the source of our strength, the source of our redemption, the source of our salvation. Let's spread the spirit of Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston to be less divided by race, less divided by gender, less divided by ideology, less divided by party, less divided from the police, less divided from the environment, less divided from our own conscience. And the path is as straightforward as it always has been: liberty and justice for all. There is no liberty without justice, as there is no love without truth. They are bound as one. Jefferson and Eisenhower said the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. That's the price of community. That's the price of peace. We've seen the path, but I'll tell you, voting is not going to be enough. We're going to have to stand up, speak out, organize, register people to vote. This is a fight. The country is at a crossroads. We can turn this red state blue, but it's going to take more than what we've done before if we want to take back the State House, take back Congress, and implement the ideas that President Obama has been pushing for. It is possible for us to do that. We've seen off the coast here that people stopped drilling for oil off the coast. It was organized people that defeated organized money. We've seen that with the founding of the Republic. We've seen it with the abolitionist movement. We've seen that with the populists that stood up to the banks. We've seen it with the progressive movement that pushed to have voting rights for everybody in a direct election for senators. We've seen in the women's rights movement that people got arrested, they fought, they were able to prevail. In the labor movement, they did that. We've seen it in the civil rights movement, the environmental movement, in the gay rights movement. It's our time to finish the civil rights movement. Faith without works is dead. Citizenship without sacrifice is dead. Early patriots pledged their lives, their fortune, and their sacred honor to form this country. That's the sacrifice we'll need to reform that country. I look forward to this fight with you. We need your help. God bless America.